The upcoming Fable reboot has not gone well for Microsoft Gaming. We have seen every single teaser and trailer be raked across the coals. We have seen them have to really damage control and delay this title multiple times. And now one of their co-development studios, Eidos Montreal, is being hit with yet another major wave of layoffs, and it really is looking like a disaster for them. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, just a couple of months ago, we heard that the Fable co-developer Eidos Montreal had laid off staff, the latest cuts from Embracer, and Embracer has been actually canceling quite a few games. They have been firing quite a few people, and really it just looks like they are going through a major change, and a lot of companies in the video game industry are. I'm not blind to that fact, but this looks really, really bad for this studio. And well, now we are finding out that they are going through even more layoffs. So back in March, we heard that in a memo posted to social media, the studio said that it was cutting jobs because one of our mandates is coming to an end, and the developer did not elaborate further about this. However, the studio said about affected staffers, it is not a reflection of their dedication or skills, but unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to entirely reallocate them to our other ongoing projects and services, and it looks like they can't really keep anyone around, period, because now they've let go more staff with more layoffs planned. Boy, oh boy, if I worked for them, I would be panicking right now. Eidos Montreal, the studio known for developing Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and supporting games like Tomb Raider and others, has had more layoffs. Over the last week, a number of now former employees took to LinkedIn to announce that they were no longer with the company. Hey there, the gameplay director wrote, was working at Eidos, loved it, and would have stayed, but times are difficult. In total, at least a dozen or more people are now looking for work. This is the second known wave of job cuts at the studio after 75 people were let go. At the time, it was said that the layoffs were done due to mandates coming to an end, and while one would hope that the latest layoffs are the end, that doesn't appear to be the case. In recent days, multiple sources have explained to Insider Gaming most projects at the studio have been canceled, and yeah, if you really look at what they're working on, it's not much. I mean, Grounded 2 is in early access right now, and we don't know when this is going to release, but this, I would assume, is coming out in 2026. Either way, that's co-developed with Obsidian. Then you have Fable, which they are supporting development for Playground Games, but besides that, they're not working on anything else. So really, they're helping with two titles right now, and one is already in early access, meaning it's basically done. Sure, there's more polishing and more content to be created, but I'm certain Obsidian is handling most of that. So what are they really working on? Fable. And Fable has already been raked across the coals. Fable is facing some major problems. We don't even know if that's going to release in 2026 or really at all. And if they're laying off tons of people, that to me screams that there are problems internally with both of these games, because they're both Xbox game studios, so they're partnered just with Microsoft Gaming, and if two of their games are flopping, well, that means that basically everybody's going to be fired between these two projects. Though previously they worked on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Avengers, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Rise of the Tomb Raider Thief, and Tomb Raider, and then Deus Ex Human Revolution. So they have nothing else that they are currently working on, nothing else that seems to be around the corner, given we're not going to get any new Marvel games anytime soon, especially from them. And we know that there is like a Tomb Raider reboot that's happening, but we haven't gotten any other news on that except for, yeah, they're actually developing that right now. So this to me screams that there's a big problem specifically with Fable, because Grounded 2 is, yeah, I mean, I've got to assume almost done, seeing as you can play a specific version of it at this point in time. And I've talked about Tomb Raider at length, I've talked about Obsidian at length, and of course Fable at length, though if you look at Fable and the news we've gotten surrounding this, I genuinely don't know when it's going to release. If they are having to delay it, if they are losing supporting staff members, and they're also losing people who are integral to the development process. We heard that Fable 4's narrative lead was leaving Playground Games. There were several people who actually did, but it says just a little over a month after the long-awaited title made its world debut, and this was back at the end of 2023, Playground Games' Fable 4 lost one of their key team members with the departure of the narrative lead, Anna McGill. As first reported by Games Radar, Fable 4 narrative lead had announced her departure from the developer Playground Games after over 3 years with the company. McGill, who had previously worked as both the lead writer on Ubisoft's The Division 2 and the narrative lead for Remedy Entertainment's Control, announced her departure from the UK-based studio on her personal Twitter account, stating that she had a busy year between work on Fable 4 and writing 2 books. She said that she would be taking some time off following her resignation, and despite moving on from the studio, she appeared to hold no ill will towards Playground Games, which isn't surprising. If you ever want another career in an industry, you have to act professional, even if you feel slighted and you are upset with the circumstances surrounding your departure. And it doesn't seem like she ever really wanted to completely get out of the video game space, so why would she then burn any sort of bridge that she might potentially have, especially when Playground Games really is just Xbox Game Studios or Microsoft Gaming. Like, they're one of the behemoths in the games industry. Yeah, you don't want to get on their bad side. Although a high-level shakeup like this might leave some gamers feeling worried about the future of the franchise's latest entry, she assured Fable fans that Playground has assembled a heroically talented team, so I know that it's in good hands. Even with the excitement surrounding the return of the long-running franchise, the debut of it didn't land with every fan. In a sadly now all too common occurrence in the gaming industry, the trailer was flooded with dislikes by viewers upset, both by the choice of a female protagonist and the fact that they didn't consider her attractive enough. Of course, the access media would say it's your fault for not just shutting up and consuming product. Yeah, we have a lot of problems with Fable so far. And yes, part of that is the fact that it's not a custom character anymore. Part of that is the fact that she looks like she was hit with the ugly stick. But there's also several other issues that we've seen with the teasers and trailers so far, and they just want to dumb it down to this one thing. You would think that this would be a major problem. Oh my gosh, a narrative lead is leaving. We also heard that a combat designer had left just a few months after this, and none of this looks good. Plus, with the fact that every trailer, yes, has been completely and utterly ratioed, gamers are not happy what they've seen. Plus, a co-developer is laying off tons of staff. None of this paints a very positive picture. And I also think it's important to remind you guys that back when it wasn't shown at Gamescom 2025, there were rumors circulating that not only it could be delayed again, but it could be straight up canceled because Microsoft was silent on it. We heard about all of these layoffs, and really, the backlash that is surrounding this project is astronomical. At this point, the masculinized lead upset a lot of people. The lack of character customization highlights was very, very worrying, and really it didn't look like the Fable people expected after all of these years. And during a time when we're seeing so many Xbox games be canceled, like the Perfect Dark reboot, and them admitting that they're basically just doctoring footage and specific gameplay sections that were created just to put in a trailer, and they're not actually fully developing games until they've seen the amount of positive or negative reception and they've really judged if it's worth putting the money into. I would be very worried if I was expecting this to come out. Now, for me personally, I don't care at this point if games come out or they don't. When it comes to reboots and remakes and continuations, most of the time they're very bad, and what we're seeing from Fable so far looks very bad. So if they just decided one day to say, hey, we're not releasing it, I would say, oh no, boo-hoo. boo. Anyway, there's better things to play. But yeah, I mean, it's just really not looking good at this point. And when you're hearing about major layoffs happening at a co-development studio, plus they're silent on Fable, maybe this was canceled, or maybe they just don't want to face any more backlash until they can try to release a really amazing trailer and change people's public perception, even though I don't think that's going to work. So yeah, we're hearing a lot of news right now that does not sound good. But the biggest piece is that we are hearing about more Eidos Montreal layoffs, and it seems that the #1 game that they're working on right now, Fable, isn't maybe going as well as they anticipated. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.